Hello, from June 13th to June 15th, 2022, the Brazil-Canada Chamber of Commerce will be hosting the 16th edition of the Brazil-Canada Conference at PDAC, taking place in person in Toronto. We are also hosting the second Brazil-Canada Virtual Mining Conference at PDAC that started on March 7th and will continue until May 31st. I'm Carolina Alvarez, CEO at the Brazil-Canada Chamber of Commerce, and I'm here today with Rafael Marchi, Managing Director, Infrastructure and Capital Projects at Alvarez and Marsal in Brazil, and Julio Iturriaga, Managing Director, Infrastructure and Capital Projects at Alvarez and Marsal, Chile, to talk about the company and how they have been supporting the mining sector. So Rafael, Julio, welcome, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Carol. It's a pleasure to be here today with you and talk a little bit about mining and Alvarez and Marsal, and it's going to be a good discussion.
Perfect. So why don't we start by you telling us a little bit about yourself and about Alvarez Marsal, I think both in Brazil and Chile.
Yeah, so let me start with myself. I'm a mechanical engineer. I have over 15 years of experience in the consulting business. My focus has always been into mining and logistics associated to mining. And I've been working for the majors, for the juniors, and for global and local companies. So it's very good and important for us to be present in this event and talk to you guys. And talking a little bit more about A&M. A&M is a New York-based company. It was founded almost 40 years ago. Our headquarters is in New York, and we have over 70 offices globally. And within A&M, we have our practice, which is called Infrastructure and Capital Projects. This practice was created 5 years ago, and now we have over 350 engineers and employees, consultants spread out in all the continents. And our focus, the focus of this business is not only mining, right? Is focused on natural resources in general. So we have specialists in mining, in oil and gas, in logistics, energy, real estate, and so all the business that have capital intensive and of such a mining is one of those. Now we have for this practice we have specialists in US, in Canada, in Chile, in Brazil, obviously in Middle East and Europe. So we do attack and we do support clients with the best resources and the team that has the right expertise for the right industry. And our focus in our portfolio of services, they go since the foundation or M&A or a transaction of business until the end and the operations and the closure, right? So we say that we work from dust to dust. So and this is very important because if we say just about the mining as an example, nowadays not only it's very important on the M&A transactions, on developing an asset, on developing the plant, but is also equally important to plan the closure of this asset. So and within all this life cycle of the asset, it's where we support clients with finance, with planning, with capex control, with project controls in general. So that's what a little bit of what we do and our huge team is doing globally.
Thank you. Julio, do you want to add something or introduce yourself?
Yes, Carolina. As Rafael mentioned, we are just starting the practice in Chile. The idea is to support not just Chile development, and of course, Peru, Ecuador, and Colombia, that as you know, there is a lot of Canadian investments. One of the things that you see a lot of PDAC is that it's not just large mining investment like a copper in Chile. There is a lot of gold, silver, and polymetallics opportunities, as I mentioned, in other countries in the region. Important things in Chile, and of course, our role in Alvarez and Marsal is to support the owners teams, the investors, is to work, of course, in copper and lithium, something that we have a lot in Chile. But something that we see for the next couple of years is, of course, everything related to mining infrastructure. So that means water. As you know, water and desalination plants is a very key topic for the next couple of years, especially in the middle of the desert. That is where we have most of our mining locations. Power is also very important in the region, and especially in Chile. We are doing a huge effort on renewables energies. So again, that's a lot of opportunities for investors that are willing to go for mining infrastructure. And the other thing that is very important in Chile and is a country strategy is related with green hydrogen. Most of our mining companies are focused right now to be more green, to be more sustainable, and green hydrogen is part of the answer. So renewable energy, water, supporting infrastructure for mining or copper production, lithium production is on our focus right now as supporting the owners team with Alvarez and Marsal.
Thank you. So I'm going to take that as a little hook here. So it's very interesting. Green hydrogen is definitely like on the discussion right now. Canada is also developing a lot of projects, and we've been talking a lot about the opportunity that the mining sector has right now to position itself as a trusted partner to fight climate change, right? So we're seeing a super cycle in the price of metals that will enable the green transition, as you mentioned, lithium, copper, nickel. How important is for the mining companies, especially the ones focused on battery metals and energy metals, to be able to demonstrate their clear ESG credentials in all aspects? I'll pass to Rafa and then I'll come back to you.
Yeah, Carol, I think that's the hot topic at the moment, right? Not only because of the prices of these commodities that have soared recently, but it is also very linked to a consumer change that is happening in the future that is going to affect the mining business. If you take the example of companies like Apple and Tesla, that have, clients, the consumers that want products that have all the life cycle of them, all the supply chain of these products to be completely and fully green. These companies that are at the end of the day, the ones that buys the ores, right? The product from the mining companies, they are making pressure on those mining business to have the operation fully green. So I think there's a chain of events that are certainly leading to it's a movement that's not going to return anymore. So every day more and more all the commodities are going to be suffering the same effect, and this has, I think, two pillars of products or of things that are going to happen because of it. For the new mining companies, for the new assets, it's going to be mandatory for them to have a master plan of ESG. So they must have an ESG plan that has to be very transparent and put in a very open and reliable plan. So this means not only having a clean energy source, but also dealing with the environment, dealing better with the social. So this is definitely becoming mandatory for the new players, for the new assets, and for the assets that are running today, that are already under the life of the mine. They're in the middle of the cycle or something like this. They are going to need to have a transition, right? They are gonna these assets. Sometimes they are not going to be possible, to be fully 100% energy, clean energy, just for example, but they will have to show that they are doing the best they can in order to comply with this new mandatory force, right? So of course that all of this has to be financially sustainable, right? Because the ESG does not work if you do not have the finance pillar. And because of that, I think that it's also something that we've seen recently. The mining, the capital markets are starting to structure themselves in order to supply better bonds, more incentives, better rates, interest rates for the companies that shows that that can show that they are complying, or they are thinking and really doing something that's not only to just marketing. They have to show that they're doing important things, and not only just to show off. They have to really show that they are doing something for the society and the environment. I think that's it.
That the change is real, right? It's not only in paper. I think that's
Exactly.
the main point here. So you guys we discussed a lot about junior companies as well, and we all know about the importance that the junior companies have for the development of the mineral assets and the support they need to professionalize their operations, to get ready to raise capital, to get funding for exploration. How can A&M support them?
So I think for the junior mines, especially here in Brazil, we have pillars that A&M is helping many of those. The first one is governance. I think in order for those companies to grow, they need capital, right? And considering that the capital market here in Brazil is not as mature or big as in Canada, so we are still making our way to become every day more mature. One pillar that's very important here, and we've been seeing, is governance. So usually the junior mines have not very prepared owners, and because of that, sometimes they need professional support to establish a more robust governance, to show to the market, and to go to the banks and to try to fund from external sources, from external banks. So I think this pillar of governance is something that it's very important, and we are helping a lot. And with governance comes also compliance, right? Because of all the risks and because of the relations that mining companies, they always have with government agencies, with local authorities, with many regulators, the municipalities and the governor, the state in general, to show and to have compliance procedures. It's very important also. And as we always do, is to have a proper management, and this management, I mean technical and financial management, with controls and with best in practice procedures, so systems, and of course that this has to be tailor-made. So a junior mining company cannot afford huge systems and like the majors, but still there's a lot of things that they can do, and a lot of opportunities to make big jumps, in terms of quality, and reducing a lot of gaps with small investments, that they are able to do. So with these three pillars together, governance, compliance, and management, I think this is a good opportunity for those junior companies to have more access to grow, and for us here, for Brazil, sometimes it's much easier to have the investment on companies that are already operating, but they are small, and help them increase, instead of drilling and going after new assets and doing the development, which is very long and very costly. Sometimes it's much faster, you know, for any external or foreign investor that wants to be in Brazil, to have a company that's operating, to, you know, to restructure and to improve the management of this company, and then with this asset make this asset grow in Brazil and in other jurisdictions in Latin America. So I think that's an opportunity that we have in the junior mining space here in Brazil.
Yeah, thank you. That's and we know how many they're like family-run businesses and properties
Exactly.
that really need the help. And for the junior companies, management is the key of success, right? Like we see that here all the time. So just to I don't know if Julio, you wanted to add something to this?
Yes, actually, Carolina, totally agree with Rafael. One of the things that we could help a lot is what we call project excellence, is of course to really take the best decisions. As you know, usually capital investments are a large investment, so we really help them to build a solid business case, so then it's ready for execution. And then the other thing that is important as we are talking about pillars is, you know, the assurance that, of course, as you know, mostly, and I don't want to say that most of the times it happened, but sometimes these capital investment, they get more overcost or more time. So assurance is really key, and that in our case is in two ways: to help them as an independent point of view, you know, so they have another person that they want the best for the project. And the second is support the owner's team. Usually, as you mentioned, the junior size company or the juniors, they don't have a strong structure, as Rafael mentioned, about governance and all of that. So I think that is important to support outside, you know, on the location with local knowledge, because sometimes they don't have the, you know, the capabilities to support the investments in Latin America.
Thank you. Another topic that I wanted to bring to discuss with you guys is so we all know the definition of an overall strategy to address risks, right, in complex infrastructure projects such as mining projects is usually defined by a trade-off between two established options, right, EPC and EPCM. What is the difference between those two options for the owner, and how can A&M support EPC and EPCM projects?
So the main difference of them is the level of risks that the owner wanna assume. So for the EPCM, usually it's also called the turnkey. It's when the owner transfers to the contractor all the risks related in all the management of a project. So from the engineering until the construction management, they deliver and they delegate this to the contractor. And for the EPC strategy is when you really break the project into smaller pieces and you give to many contractors. I think one point here that's very important to highlight is that in Brazil, and I'm talking specifically here, we do not have the presence of big or major EPCM companies. So usually, especially for the mining sector, right? So other sectors might be more advanced, but in the mining space, this strategy here in Brazil is not usually chosen because of the lack of big companies that can do this type of services, because it's a very risky contract, and for that you need very strong companies financially and technically.
Large pockets, as you say.
Large pockets, exactly. And this will also impact the strategy and the level of authority that the owner wants to take and is able to take. So large companies that have big management structures, and I'm going to mention Vale, right? So it's not it's talking about Brazilian mining business and not talking about Vale. You know, it's the largest company here. So they have a big structure. So that's why they usually prefer to go with EPCs and unit price contracts, because they are able then, and they have the capabilities of doing this management. But in general, you know, the owners, considering that the capital project, it's a part of the life of the business, but it's not the full life of the business, but it's a very important one, considering the amount of capex that is involved and all the risks. Something that A&M does and it helps the client to do is really support on the management of those EPCs, or even in the EPCM contracts. Because as Julio just spoke, the assurance is also very important to be done. So even if you have an EPCM, this is not this business is not something that you deliver a contract, an EPCM contract, and after 2 years you just come back and get the keys and start to operate. You have to make sure that everything is running properly, that, you know, the costs are not going to have any overruns, that the schedule is on track, and to do that you have really to do the assurance of what's happening, and these are to generally structures and frameworks that are that happen here in the Brazilian space.
Is it the same in Chile, Julio, or is Chile a little bit more players that can support?
Actually, regarding execution strategy and EPC versus EPCM, we have a lot of options in Chile because of the maturity of the market. We do have the big players, also the local construction companies. They are relevant, they have plenty of experience. So what we see, Carolina, is that when we're talking about execution strategy, it's not just the local capabilities, it's also the level of design or definition of the projects. Sometimes they want to go EPC, lump sum turnkey with just a couple of drawings. Of course, this is a joke. But also what you see is that most of the times that you want to be successful, for example, with lump sum projects, you need an early involvement of the contractors of the company, because there is always definitions. And most of the investments, they get in trouble because of changes. So the early of the involvement of the companies, the owner's team, consultants like us, is less potential of problems because of changes. The other thing is that, as Rafael mentioned, depending on the size and complexity of the investments, EPC or EPCM is just two options. You could always have a self-involvement, you know, self-perform of the clients. Maybe if it's a small project, 50, 100 millions, you know, something like that. You'll get that in other countries like in Colombia, Ecuador, or Peru, because you have different commodities, not just copper, like in Chile. All the copper investment are huge mega projects. So on those opportunities, when the owner is doing a self-perform, there is always opportunities that companies like us will help them and support them as program partners. And also, as Rafael mentioned, also work together with a technical partner. So I think there is plenty of opportunities on the range, and not just EPC and EPCM. And again, depends on the level of definitions, the involvement of the companies, in this case, contractor or projects companies, and also, you know, the level of risk that they are willing to take.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This was very, very informative. So I'll just like to, any final comments before we close this off? Rafa, I don't know if any final messages that you wanted to share with your audience?
Yes, I think a final message is, first, I'm anxious to see everyone again in presence. So it's going to be a very good meeting soon in PDAC. And it's very important, those discussions and this conference and the presence of BCCC and companies such as, to help, you know, the development of the sector in general. I think especially in Brazil, we have a lot to learn, but we also have benchmarks to show. So those events are very good to exchange experiences and to show our capabilities and to address problems that we have in the market, because the Brazilian mining sector is one of the most important sectors here in Brazil. But a message that I think everyone has to, that works with this industry, has to show is that we are, especially because of the accidents that happened recently, that we are very important for the whole economy, that we are the base for all the other industries. So I think it's very important to show this to the community, that we are, every day getting better, and that we still have a lot to grow, and this means opportunities and development for the country and for the global community. So I think events like these are very important to the sector, to the business.
Thank you, Julio. Any final comments?
Yes, it has been a lot of years without seeing us face to face. I love PDAC. It's a great opportunity to get together. Just not the actually, you get together everybody, the investors, the owners, country representatives, different companies. And I think that is a very important opportunity to share and to get the same information. And our contribution in this kind of conference, and of course, helping investors in South America or Latin America, is that we have the local knowledge and local experience. So that's something that is our contribution in this region. And of course, it's great to go back to PDAC and see faces again, familiar faces and friends and colleagues. So we will see you there in June in PDAC Toronto.
I look forward to it, especially now that's going to be in the summer, right? A completely different experience.
Yeah, I remember by last time actually was some snow there. So going in summer is a way different experience.
Yeah, it's a different city for sure.
Maybe it's a change for good, right?
Well, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what they decide, but it will definitely be a good change. Well, thank you very, very much for your time, for your support. Alvarez and Marsal is one of the silver sponsors of the 16th edition of the Brazil-Canada Conference at PDAC. And we look forward to seeing you both here in Toronto in June. And stay tuned, as Alvarez and Marsal will be part of the discussion on mining financing perspectives for 2022 that will take place on June 14th at the Metro Toronto Convention Center. We look forward to seeing you there. And for more information about our events and for registration, please go to www.brascanchamber.org/PDAC2022. Thank you so much for being here, Rafael and Julio. Congratulations on all the work you're doing. And we look forward to seeing you both in person in a few months. Thank you.